So today I wanted to talk about what Mortal Kombat could do going forward to actually bring back its fans, because although I have a lot of bad things to say about it, like I've said before, deep down I love Mortal Kombat and I want it to be well. Someone said that it was kind of harsh and ridiculous that I wanted Mortal Kombat 1 to perish, which I completely disagree with. I think that the same thing that happened with Street Fighter 5 kind of needs to happen with MK1. Although Street Fighter 5 ended up becoming an acceptable game and becoming quite popular and selling well, I don't see that in the cards for Mortal Kombat 1. The community manager seems to be non-existent on Twitter. So my hope is that this game tanks, WB loses the rights to it or whatever happens, and the next Mortal Kombat game is something that is more of a love letter to the fans to let them know we still care. Now, just before I go forward with this video and my suggestions for what I want in Mortal Kombat, I got a question and they were basically asking me what am I going to do on this channel once I'm finished flaming Mortal Kombat. And the plans for this channel moving forward are going to be very similar to what I'm doing now, but it's going to be all things gaming related. Now, it's not going to change to some positive thing. I already made that very clear in the last video. If you see me upload and you see me talking, it's probably something that has pissed me off, so I'll be covering it. There's so many things in the gaming world to talk about that I can go over, and I'm not going to move away from the FGC space, so I'll still be covering things in there. So just in case you're wondering what I'm going to be doing with this channel once I'm done flaming Mortal Kombat 1, that's pretty much it. So this video is going to be broken into two parts. I want to talk about what I think NetherRealm or Warner Brothers or whoever gets their hands on it can do with Mortal Kombat to bring it back to its glory days. Now, for the first part, I'm going to be talking about everything other than the gameplay. And then either tomorrow or the following day or whenever I decide to upload it, I'll upload part 2 about the gameplay. Now, I understand the part 2 about the gameplay is probably going to be quite divisive. We all have our own ideas of what Mortal Kombat brings to the table, or what it should bring to the table. So what I want you guys to do, if you don't mind, is in this video I'm going to be talking about everything else, like menus and options and game modes and whatever. In the comment section, if you could let me know what you think would really benefit Mortal Kombat from a gameplay perspective, because it might be something that goes over my head. Remember, I don't script these videos, I'm literally talking off the top of my head. So if you could leave a comment on something that you want to see in Mortal Kombat going forward, gameplay wise, I'll read it over, and if it's something I agree with, I'll include it in the video and I'll put your comment on the screen. So, off the top of my head, something that was always important to me when I was playing fighting games was the opening movie, and it's something that I'm really happy that Tekken has consistently decided to bring back. Tekken 4, 5 and 6, as a matter of fact, no, going even further back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 and Tekken Tag 2 and Tekken 1 for that, Tekken Tag 1 for that matter, all had really great opening movies. Street Fighter not so much, but I really love opening movies, and there was a time when Mortal Kombat was doing that. I'm sure you guys remember the Mortal Kombat Armageddon opening movie. The Deception one is my favorite one. Deadly Alliance was really good as well. Like they killed Shao Kahn and they killed Liu Kang, and everyone was like, oh my god, every time you boot up that game it's so intense and it just sucks you in straight away. Pause. So I think that a really good thing to do from the top is bring back the opening movies. Opening movies in fighting games are really cool, and I know it's something they used to do more in the arcade days, but I think it's really nice that we've got like a Tekken 5 looking opening for Tekken 8. I really think that every time you boot up the game it will get you excited. So that's the first thing, that's right from the top. The second thing that I want to reference is that although I think the graphics are really good in Mortal Kombat, and they are really good, I'm not particularly flaming them, I do think that Mortal Kombat 1 is a bit too colourful for a game that is about sorcerers and magic and demons and elder gods and that. It feels a bit too colourful. It looks really nice, don't get me wrong, it's a very pretty looking game. But I do miss that more gritty style that Mortal Kombat used to have, that very dark tone. MKX really nailed it for me. I think with the new graphics that they've got, if they were to do something similar to MKX with that sort of like color palette, I think they could really do something quite special. Not to say that I don't want loads of vibrant colors, or that I don't even understand why they did it, because MK1 is meant to be the beginning of a new era, so not everything has gone to shit. So I'm assuming MK2 will be more gritty and more dark anyway, because General Khan will probably become Shao Kahn and Outworld will turn to crap. So that's what I'd like to see in terms of graphics. The presentation as well, I'd really like the presentation to go back to that 80s, 90s retro feel. It's very like Hollywood looking right now. I don't really know how to explain it, but that gritty feel, that 80s/90s techno feel that Mortal Kombat had back in the day, it was honestly, it was fantastic. Like, I can't fault it. I look back on the old Mortal Kombat games and even the films, and I'm always like, the music and the way it looks was literally on point. It was on brand for Mortal Kombat. If you guys go back to the original Mortal Kombat film, if you remember when Reptile fought Liu Kang in Outworld and that music started playing, I can't play it here because I'll get copyright striked, but you just type in Liu Kang versus Reptile, Mortal Kombat, and listen to that music if you've never heard it before, because I know some of the younger people that are playing Mortal Kombat probably don't remember a lot of the things from back in the day. Even away from the movies, even away from the Mortal Kombat Conquest movie show that had really good music, the games used to have really good music. The digitized 2D ones, for example, Subway. Subway was really good. The Pit or the Pool, Deadpool, whatever it was called, had really good music. They need to return to that style of music. This Hollywood thing they've got going on, it's not working. I really, really can't stress how badly it's lame. And I think that's something most people agree on. When you look at Street Fighter, you look at Tekken, and you listen to them, you're like, wow, these soundtracks actually hit. I know Street Fighter 6's is a little bit more divisive. Personally, I like it. But look at Tekken, for example. Tekken's music is so beloved worldwide that they make an effort to tell you, hey, we're streaming it everywhere now. You can buy vinyls of it. You can buy CDs. Here's a jukebox. I really think that in terms of music, they need to go backwards and they need to go back to the 80s and 90s feel. And then moving on from that, story mode. I think story mode, they need to ditch the chapters thing now. They've done it since MK versus DC. It's been going on for over 10 years now. And not to say it's a bad thing, but I do think we need something fresh. We need something to make us feel like we're playing a new Mortal Kombat game, which is a criticism that Mortal Kombat 1 has faced, that I kind of understand, where people feel it's a little bit too similar to MK11. It's not the same, but there are a lot of similarities, and I completely understand that sentiment. So I think one thing that could differentiate them is story mode. I think story mode should become semi-open world like it was in Deception. To this day, nothing has touched the Deception story mode for me. Of course, from a narrative perspective, the games that followed it, with MK vs DC 9, 10, 11, and 1, narrative-wise, yes, of course they were better. But just like as a fun game, as something that you can sink your teeth into, nothing has come close to Deception. For those of you that don't know, in Deception, you could travel from Earthrealm to Outworld to Chaos to Order to the Netherrealm. So you had all these different realms you could go into, and they were all legitimately different. If you go back now, obviously you can notice that some of them are a little bit more bare bones than the others, but they were their own worlds. I remember going to the Order realm for the first time, and then you go to the Chaos dimension and you meet Havoc, and you're just like, wow, this is a really cool experience. And there were so many things to unlock and so many secrets, and you'd bump into random fighters in Edenia, for example. Now, I remember you run into Sector and he starts going error. And I remember cracking up as a kid thinking, wow, they really put a lot of effort into this shit. Even when Armageddon came out, I continued playing it. It was honestly really good. So I'd like to see them go back to something like that. And what they could do is they could actually incorporate the crypt into story mode. So each area can have its own crypt section. Another one can have its own area that you travel to, where this is where you unlock the unlockables. It could be pretty cool. I do like the way MK11 sort of had the semi-open world crypt, where you could walk around the maze and walk around into a dungeon. I didn't appreciate the jump scares very much. I think they were onto something there, and I think that they can incorporate crypt into story mode and have each individual realm have its own crypt. I think that would be a really cool idea. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section. And then moving on from that, moving away from story mode, I think it would be nice for them to just have some bog standard fighting game modes to sort of beef it up a little bit. Not something that's going to take up a lot of resources. Time attack and survival mode are always fun, but if they're not there, I won't be too mad. But it would be nice to have a time attack and survival mode, because I do think those are two modes that are forgotten in fighting games these days. I think they should continue to bring back the arcade ladders and give everybody their own individual endings. I don't think that they should just be these comic strips anymore. I think they should actually do a full CG movie like they do in Tekken. I really, really enjoy those. I appreciate some of the ones they did in the past for Mortal Kombat, but I just want them to be actual CG movies now. The still image thing is kind of lame, and I'm kind of over it. It was okay every now and then, but you know, I think again MK2 will need to differentiate itself from MK1 and get away from all of the negative sort of energy that MK1 has brought on. Having said that, I think that Towers should just be scrapped. Towers is the most boring thing I've ever seen. It's so lazy. It screams lazy to me. I think they need to completely get rid of that and use those resources to bring back a mini game. Now, I'm not saying bring back all the mini games, because I don't know how bad the financial situation is for NRS and WB, but at least bring back one. Chess Combat straight away comes to mind. Chess Combat was brilliant. The same way Tekken has brought back Tekken Ball, and everybody's really excited about that, bring back Chess Combat, and you know what? To make it even more enticing for people, give it its own leaderboard. So, right, this is the Chess Combat King. This is the champion here. This is the champion of Earthrealm or whatever. Or have the chess combat and have each person tournaments and have each person defending their own realm or whatever. Like, do something cool and exciting with the minigame where people want to play it past day one. So I think a minigame needs to make a return, whether that's chess combat or combat cart or even a brand new one. If they brought something on, I'd say, even if I don't like what they brought on, I appreciate the effort. And I will highlight it so it would be nice if they just scrap towers because it's boring and it's overdone now, and use those resources to bring back a minigame. Off the top of my head, another thing that I really want to see is test your might, test your sight, and test your luck. I believe they're in Mortal Kombat 1, so it would be nice if they returned again. I'm not saying MK1 doesn't have it, I'm just saying bring them back. They're like a staple for Mortal Kombat, and I think people really appreciate them. Obviously have a gallery mode as well. I think people like gallery modes. I wouldn't be mad if it was missing, if you had all these other features. It wouldn't bother me too much. Now, one thing I do want to see NRS do, and the MK team or WB do, is invest in a jukebox mode. So where I was saying they should bring back the 80s and 90s film music, I do think that you should give us the option to use the music from your older games. Let's say you make a game and you do take on my suggestion of bringing back the 80s and 90s film music, but you still create music that I don't like. The way to cover yourself is basically do what Tekken did. Just give us access to your library, and if I don't like the music you produced, I will replace it with music I do like, because there's plenty in the old Mortal Kombat games. Even the 3D era games had good music, and nobody's going to complain. Yeah, I might be like, okay, cool, they created more shit music. Not a problem. Subway's there, the MK Deception character select screen's there. Like, I'll have things to cover it. There'll be less things for people to moan about on Twitter. So I think a jukebox mode would be great. I also think customization needs to be revitalized. The customization in these Mortal Kombat games is quite laughable. It's actually piss poor, if I'm being 100% honest. They just need to put even 1% more effort into it. They need to get rid of the RNG stuff. I do not want to be grinding for Tanya's costume when I'm a Shao Kahn player. It's really irritating. In the customizable options, you should give people quite a lot to do at the base game, and then I'm sure people will be happy to maybe buy something here and there. If you give people a lot in the base game, they're happy to invest. That's one thing that I think Tekken has done very well. And I'm sorry to keep bringing up Tekken, but I'm not a big fan of what they're doing in the Street Fighter store, and Tekken seems to be getting it right. So if you give people a lot at the base game, they'll be more willing to invest in your DLC content, and they'll be more happy to support your studio. I know I would. If you gave me a lot of options to customize Shao Kahn from the get-go, and then you released a bunch more, I'll be like, yeah, do you know what? They earned my money, here's my money. But I'm not going to give you $10 or £10 for a skin when there's nothing in the game to begin with. You must be joking. On that note, the store needs to stop this rotating bullshit. Get that Fortnite garbage out of fighting games. It just needs to go. If I see that in MK2, even if you drop good content, I won't buy anything. These shady business practices to prey on people that really, really want, and I say prey on people, but obviously the people that are doing it are also stupid as well, because you're buying into it. So drop all that nonsense from the store. Make the store a place people actually want to go and invest their money, and stop the rotating bullshit. So customization in store needs to be reworked completely. But one thing I do want to say is they need to have better communication with the community on Twitter. I know that some people can go on Twitter and say some really disgusting things, and like I said in my last video, although I do think you should go to Twitter and at them and say, we don't like this and you need to do this, even if you think it's WB that did it. There's no way for us to contact WB, so the only way to get in contact with anybody to get our message passed on to WB is to at the developers. And on that note, before I say anything about the community manager, I do think that NRS have some blame to take here. Yes, WB might have said, here's the money that you're going to have for Mortal Kombat, and here are your resources, but at the end of the day they still took that and they made something that we don't like. And I'm going to get to the gameplay portion, but I do think the community manager needs to have more contact with people. If you're going to take on the role of community manager for Mortal Kombat, you need to understand your community. Now, I understand this community, and that's why I have fun taking the piss out of them sometimes, but also why we have fun having good conversations on this channel about what we want to see from Mortal Kombat. There's a lot of toxic people in this community, unfortunately, but there's also a lot of cool people. I've had conversations in my comment section with a lot of people that have a lot of cool ideas, and even people that originally don't like the content that I'm putting out. Sometimes I'll ask them a question and it will turn into a laugh and a joke, and I think a community manager needs to be like that. You need to be willing to accept all the hate and all the love. You can't just have it one way. Because you see people cussing you out and then you curl up into a ball. Like, where the hell are you? Where is the community manager to communicate with the audience about what's going on at Mortal Kombat? You're radio silent. You're on salary for no reason. Like, say something to people. Deal with the hate. Like, be a man about it. It's not that deep. You think that when I was making these videos, I wasn't going to get hundreds of comments that, well, to be honest with you, I didn't think people were even going to watch them. But now that I'm making them and I'm seeing people are coming back, do you think I don't know that I'm going to open it? Someone's going to accuse me of some sort of tomfoolery? No, of course. Some people will say things you don't like. Pucker up and deal with it. It's not that deep. The community manager needs to communicate with the player base more so that they feel connected to them, because it really does go a long way. People feel connected to Michael Murray and Harada. They believe that they're listening, and that's why they voice things on Twitter. And sometimes Harada will come back and say, "Don't ask me for shit." I actually think the way he deals with things is great. A case in point with that guy that accused him of racism, Harada was like, "Yo, are you an idiot?" It basically just ripped him, and that was the end of it. So if the community managers are hiding because the MK community is toxic, look, I know that my videos do not garner anywhere near as the attention that they would get on Twitter. But I guarantee you, if I was your community manager, there will be contact. And I guarantee you, you're open to flame me if you want, or you're open to send me love. It doesn't matter. You're supposed to talk to people. So just before I close off this video, because I don't want to say, oh, I want this, that, and the other from MK2 when I already know MK1's in a bad place and maybe not going to make as much money. So I will close off with saying this. The online just needs to work. I'm not going to list a bunch of features. You just need to make it work. Invest time and money into creating an online that works. That's it. You don't have to give us these big bombastic game modes in there, although that would be nice. At a base, if you can release Mortal Kombat 2 with the things that I've suggested, even half of them, and the online works, people can actually play ranked and play player match or King of the Hill with their friends without desync issues, I can forgive most other problems, because at its core, it's a fighting game, and if I can fight my friends and everything else around me is burning, maybe I can look away from it. But if you can't even get the online correct in a day and age where we need online to function correctly to have a good time of fighting games, then you can go to hell. Now, as I said, this was just a section that I wanted to do to cover everything else. I didn't want to talk about roster. It's very subjective, and to be honest with you, I do think the Mortal Kombat 1 roster is actually very good. Next video, or the part 2 to this, is going to be about gameplay. Now, as I said, if you enjoy the videos, leave a comment in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe and all that stuff, but leave a comment regarding what you want to see in the gameplay portion, or what you want to see removed from Mortal Kombat 2. And maybe I'll include it in the video and I'll include your comment. Maybe you guys will just make suggestions that I don't like and none of them will be in there. We'll see. I'll keep it 1,000 with you lot. And I've got a lot of suggestions for the gameplay. I know it's going to be very divisive. We all have our own ideas of what makes Mortal Kombat great and how we want to see it moving forward. So stay tuned for that, guys. But anyways, thank you for watching the video, and there will be more daily to every other day content on this channel going forward. It will be the same similar format. As I said, when I'm done talking about Mortal Kombat, there are plenty of things in the gaming world that I don't like, plenty of political things in the gaming world I don't like, social things. There's always some ego on Twitter doing, or Twitch or whatever, doing something dumb, so there's always going to be something to cover. So if you like listening to me flame people, then this is the channel for you. Anyway, guys, have a good day, take care of yourself, stay safe out there, and I will catch you next time.